Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optix podcast, where we take a glance into blockbusters, indie films, and everything in between. I'm your host, Christian, and as always, I'm joined by my partner in film, Devin. And today we're here to give our spoiler-free reactions to The Boys, Season 4, Episodes 1 through 3. But before we begin today's episode, you can listen to our podcast on podcast platforms around the internet. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. And if you are a new or seasoned listener to the show, we would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads at Film Optix, or you can email us at filmoptix@gmail.com for any movie-related questions. Devin, we're officially halfway through June. How's it feel? How's your week been?
It's been a pretty good week. I'm glad the boys are back in town, to quote the famous song. It's been a bit of a void in our life. When was last season? 2021?
2022. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been too long. 2 years.
That is true, but we did have Gen V to hold us over last year. So I feel like that definitely scratched their itch.
Yeah, that was definitely a great stopgap.
Yeah, it really, really was. And it's crazy how this is its fourth season. And for those who do not know, Eric Kripke, the showrunner, he said that The Boys is ending with 5 seasons altogether. So I believe after season 4 is over, we're going to get season 2 of Gen 2, and then they'll probably go back into the 5th and final season of The Boys, which personally I feel like is a good place to end, because you have to know when to end a great show. You don't want it to go on too long, but
yeah, you'd much rather have a Breaking Bad than a Walking Dead.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's very true. Honestly, I'd much rather have a Breaking Bad and honestly, dare I say, Game of Thrones than Walking Dead, because, regardless of what people think of season 8 of Game of Thrones, they did decide to end it, and it's like it could have been kept going a few more seasons, but they ran out of material. So it's like, I'd rather just cut it off when you can. 8 seasons and done. They might have been able to go for 2 more, but I still feel like it ended when it needed to, or, rather, that's a whole other story. But I do agree with you, Devin. Yes, I'd much rather have The Boys be more like Breaking Bad, or, there's a lot of other shows out there that have kind of just ended. But they know when to end.
Mad Men.
I'm looking at you, Shogun, not knowing when to end, because it's this weird thing now. All these limited series that are supposed to be one and done episodes, they're getting more seasons, but the shows that are supposed to be going, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons are getting cut short. It's the weirdest thing. Not talking about The Boys specifically, but things like The Witcher, because that was supposed to be a really big thing for Netflix, where they had multiple seasons planned out, and now it's getting cut short. The show is getting canceled. They're just doing one more season, and then they're done. But I digress. I'm getting off track here. We are here to talk about the first 3 episodes of The Boys Season 4. So again, you can watch all of The Boys on Amazon Prime if you are a physical movie collector. This is one of the few shows that they do physical releases for. I believe I have the first 2 seasons on Blu-ray. I have to pick up episode 3, but season 3, arguably the best out of the 3. I don't know, but season 1 was pretty good. Again, getting off track here. As we mentioned, spoiler-free review here for the first 3 episodes of The Boys. So without further delay, we'll be right back after this introduction to The Boys Season 4, Episodes 1 through 3.
Rome. Greece. All democracies fail because people are fucking stupid. But if you crush the masses, who builds your monuments? Who tongues your taint? The people will tear it apart themselves. You just gotta nudge them a little. Then you get to swoop in, be the one saving it.
Like Caesar.
Like Caesar.
And we are back with The Boys, Season 4, Episodes 1 through 3. This is going to be a spoiler-free review, if I have not mentioned that already. Just want to let you guys know so that you guys can listen to this at your leisure and still watch the first 3 episodes of The Boys, because those are the first 3 episodes, or those are the episodes that they've released as a premiere as a whole, as they've done with The Boys Season 3. I can't remember if they did it with the Season 2. They might have. I think we got at least 2 episodes.
Yeah, Season 2 was 3 as well.
Okay, Season 2 was 3 as well. Okay.
And also Season 1 was all at once.
Oh, you know what? That's right. Gosh, it's been so long, Devin. That's crazy to think about. Like, Season 1 came out in 2019, like right before the pandemic.
Yeah, and I like the strategy they've adapted, where they give us 3 to work with, and then weekly after that, like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I feel like it is the best of both worlds. And also with TV, I think the biggest rule of thumb is that if you're not interested in a show by the 3rd episode, then they're kind of just giving everyone a full-fledged chance to be invested into the story or not, where it's like, hey, if you're not into The Boys at all, like, we're going to give you the first 3 episodes. If you decide to continue after that, that's great. If not, at least you gave it a shot. 3 episodes is a big feat for a lot of people out there. But overall, I would say Season 4 is shaping up to be really, really good. I am actually 4 episodes in, but we're going to be talking about the first 3 episodes because Amazon was kindly enough to send us both screeners. So again, for this episode, it's just going to be the first 3 episodes of Season 4 of The Boys, spoiler free. And then we will be doing a Season 1 overview once the series finale drops for everyone to watch. So I'm going to pass it over to Devin so he can give his initial reactions to The Boys Season 4, Episodes 1 through 3.
Yeah, going into this one, like I said before, it's great to be back with the boys. The boys are back in town. Just love being in this world in any way possible. Like you mentioned, Gen V was a huge hit last year as well. I'm glad we got that and moving forward with that in combination with the boys. It's just a great universe they're building. We also had Diabolical, the animated series that came and went. It was an overall good time, but maybe not as high as the peaks we've gotten with the boys and Gen V. But it's just so good to be back in this world with all these characters and then introducing some new ones along the way and just building up the backstory for everyone and keeping everyone's character build-ups just stronger and stronger each season. I just love it is kind of scary how accurate and how closely representative of our actual political world this show is. Like it just keeps on hammering the nail on the head over and over again. Just is playing out exactly how our real life is in some points. And it's just kind of scary to see that, but it is also very funny because of you can just kind of see the similarities and at least laugh at it here because it is a fictional TV show, which is nice. Obviously, Homelander is back, being as Homelander-ish as ever. Even more so in some points, and we'll see where that goes as the season goes on. We got the whole crew. We've got some new additions. We have Sister Sage, and I believe Firecracker is the other one, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, two new heroes that are brought in to the Seven, which isn't much of a spoiler because they were shown in trailers. Just kind of getting to know those characters the first 3 episodes, trying to figure out what they're about. Sister Sage is kind of like her power is her knowledge and her IQ, intelligence. Not really much of a comparison to any other direct superheroes. I guess you could say like
for Sister Sage, you mean?
Yeah, it's like a direct comparison. There's not really anyone who's just smart. I guess Lex Luthor in a way.
Yeah, I would say Lex Luthor for sure. I was going to think about him. And I mean, I know Batman isn't necessarily a direct like correlation, but Batman does have the brains.
Yeah, but they had Tech Night for Gen V. That was a good time.
Yeah. But yeah, Sister Sage is a great addition so far. But sorry, continue.
Yeah, and then Firecracker is obviously like Jubilee from X-Men. It's kind of a similar type vibe there, but this one's a bit more off the rails as far as the character goes. Very interesting character. And yeah, the first 3 episodes, just kind of diving right back into the world where we left off after last season. Butcher versus Homelander still, and that's kind of where we're at in the story right now. Butcher's trying to redeem himself as far as a father figure for, I'm blanking on his name. What's the kid's name?
Ryan?
Yeah, Ryan. Ryan's going through a lot right now. If his voice is any indication, I kind of feel bad for him because he's just in that phase right now that everyone has gone through, and it's just you feel for him because that voice is going through a lot of changes, and you can tell. Maybe that's his acting. You never really know, but yeah, his character is definitely going through a lot of changes as a boy to a man. You can definitely tell.
It's funny because now that you mention that, it reminds me of Daniel Radcliffe when it's like the first Harry Potter movie with like the Philosopher's Stone or Sorcerer's Stone, however you want to pronounce it. Like Harry, Ron, and Hermione just had like these high pitched voices. And then I swear, as soon as like Chamber of Secrets and then especially Prisoner of Azkaban came, especially Chamber of Secrets, this man's voice just like shifted. You're like, whoa, what's going on? But yeah, Ryan's going through a little bit of puberty right now, and he's going through a tough time. That is for sure, especially within these first 3 episodes. His complicated relationship with Butcher.
Yeah, it's tough enough having Homelander as a dad. Just it's a tough life.
Yeah, it's interesting because that you bring that up. Sorry, just to cut in here for a second. Because, Homelander is, at least within these first 3 episodes, he's trying to give Ryan the childhood that he never had. But Ryan is not his father. Everyone views him that way because of what happened in not episode 3, excuse me. I keep doing that. What happens in season 3 of The Boys, where Ryan is starting to show the same patterns as his father. He does have the same like ability set, but they're 2 very different people. And I think the show does a great job of portraying that to the audience.
Yeah, definitely. That relationship is, I guess you can say it's evolving. It's more so just Homelander living out his abandoned childhood that he never had. It's kind of what's going on there. But yeah, it's great to see just these characters and the new ones coming in, and I'm just very excited to see where we go from here. I know you went on to episode 4. I definitely need to dive back in, and it's going to be tough to put down.
So as Devin has mentioned, I have jumped the gun and started watching episode 4 of season 4. Like we mentioned before, we were given all 8 episodes, but within the first 3 episodes, these titles of these episodes are pretty interesting. So the first one is called, of season 4, episode 1, Department of Dirty Tricks. And then episode 2 is titled Life Among the Septics. It's an interesting one. And then episode 3 is titled We'll Keep the Red Flag Flying. So these are everything within these first 3 episodes. It's setting the stage for the rest of the season. Like Devin said, seasons 4, or not seasons 4. God, I keep doing that. Episode 4 through 8 will be on a weekly release. So starting off on Thursdays, it's going to be dropping June 20th, running through July 18th. And this is interesting because Dirty Business, which is the episode title of episode 6, and this is actually reading off of IMDb. There's no plot synopsis or anything. It's just titled Dirty Business. Episode 6 of season 4 drops on 4th of July. So I think that's actually pretty cool. But going back to the first 3 episodes, it's been a while since me and Devin have both watched season 3. I'm not sure if Devin watched like a recap or whatnot. I was not able to. But it did take me a second to kind of get back into it because we did have that bit of a, not distraction, but more of like a side quest with Gen V. And of course, Gen V springs us into season 4 of The Boys. And I was like, oh yeah, what happens? Luckily enough, there is a bit of a recap during the beginning of episode 1 of season 4, which kind of brings you up to speed. It's not very long, but within these first 3 episodes, there's a lot going on between the relationship between Huey and his father, Huey and Butcher and the boys, and Kimiko and her character arc, as well as Frenchie's, and a little bit of Mother's Milk as well. But I think the 2 biggest additions to the show so far, which Devin already mentioned, is Sister Sage and Firecracker. They are the 2 new heroes that have, I guess you could say, that has replaced Soldier Boy. Gosh, I miss Soldier Boy so much. I miss him so freaking much.
Even in Gen V, he was great in his little cameos.
I forgot about that. And then we had, was it Stormland or
Stormfront.
Stormfront. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think they can use just Storm. I'm getting a little bit of a Marvel cease and desist. But Stormfront, she was in season 2 or season 3?
It was 2, and then like I think they might have shown her in 3. But yeah, she was the focus of season 2, and then Soldier Boy was the focus of season 3.
That's right. She was. Sorry, I'm getting my seasons mixed up. But yeah, there always seems to be a new hero that comes in and likes to, stir their pot a little bit. And I would say that, yeah. So it's like with Sister Sage and Firecracker, man, I don't know if they're necessarily big bads, because obviously like Homelander is the big bad, but they play interesting roles. And they play off of each other in a certain way. That's all I want to say. That's all I can say, because we are kind of just, talking about spoiler-free reactions here. But there's an interesting dynamic going on between Homelander, Sister Sage, and Firecracker. And then like the rest of the Seven and Vought.
Also, based on the ending of Gen V that we got, it's kind of like shifting gears to a different big bad, you could say, in Newman, because of what we learned from that season and her powers and what she possesses as far as potentially killing all soups. It's something that she has the ability to do, which of course Butcher would be happy about, but
hey man, we just have to keep watching season 4 to see what happens. But honestly, I'm enjoying the ride so far. Like you said, there is a lot of political references to our own real world, where it's almost like everyone is looking at our world from like an outside view, from like a third person's perspective. And yeah, like you said, it is pretty scary, because it's like watching this, I'm like, this is just like real life, art imitates life like on the daily. So it's like, it's crazy to see how far certain political groups have gone in this show. There are the Homelander side, and then there's like the Starlight side in a way, if I can kind of just give a little bit of insight there. And it's crazy to see these 2 sides pit against each other, because, you see all these crazy, like wild propagandas, these rumors that are spreading around. And it's like people are just eating this stuff up, no matter how far-fetched it is, no matter how ridiculous or insane that it sounds in your head. People are believing like rumors and following these trails, leading to whatever lies at the end of the quote unquote pot of gold, or pubes, if you will, towards the end of, yeah, boy, that was, man. And they actually kind of talked about that already in the press junket. They're like, oh yeah, Homelander's pubes. That's like, it's really focused on Homelander's pubes. And I was like, okay. And I started watching season 4, episode 1. I'm like, okay, I see what they're saying. And it's, there's a lot of the theme, I think, for this season so far is like time. Like people do not have enough time to do the things that they are setting out to do. You know, people are getting older. You know, there are a lot of insights into characters' own moralities that are taking place, if that makes any sense. And, you know, everyone's starting to feel not as invincible as they used to. I think that's like the best way I can put it. But overall, I am enjoying it so far.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of aging going on, and they're kind of showing that.
And I will say that season 4, like we mentioned before, Eric Kripke, one of the showrunners, has stated that season 5 is going to be the final season of The Boys. And from what we've watched so far, at least especially for what I've watched so far, you can definitely sense that it is getting near the end, but you're not there quite yet because there's a lot to do. But seeing what I've seen so far and just like thinking about scenarios in my head, there's a lot of surprising things, especially in episode 2, like that scene, like that I was eating during that scene and I almost threw up. And I was like,
that's not good timing.
It was not good timing because I was not expecting that.
But also the beginning of episode 2 is a great cameo as well.
Yes, it is. Yeah, a great cameo. A bit of a blindside action going on there.
We'll just say Meryl Streep as a tease. That's not the actual cameo, but it's part of it.
It's definitely part of it, and it's hilarious. But even just from the get-go, from episode 1, like it really did feel just like a welcome back type of situation. You know, there are these new characters at play, like we mentioned, Sister Sage and Firecracker. Sister Sage is a superhero who is the smartest person on the planet. And then you have Firecracker, who is more of a influencer to a certain political party. That's all I can say. But that's just a little bit of an insight to the 2 new characters. But I think they are both doing a great job in their respective roles because, wow, it's amazing how they're still able to take their time with this show. And it doesn't feel rushed. It feels perfectly paced altogether. Of course, you know, you have Victoria Newman coming back, playing Claudia Dormit playing Victoria Newman. And actually, yeah, you sent me that link that Claudia and
Jack Quaid.
Yeah, so Claudia and Jack Quaid are dating in real life.
Apparently, it's been a couple of years.
That's crazy.
Good for them.
I know. A little part of me died inside when I heard the news, but I'm happy for Jack Quaid. He's come a long way since the Hunger Games. But yeah, it's, you know, this season so far, speaking within the first 3 episodes specifically, it continues to do what The Boys does best. And it doesn't feel like there's any old or recycled like plot lines or jokes. Like they always find new and interesting ways to have like a sort of bloodbath action scene or, you know, a scene that's so vilely disgusting that only a soup can pull it off. So it is a wild time. But Devin, I'll pass it back over to you. Was there anything else you wanted to mention about the first 3 episodes of The Boys that we have not had a chance to talk about already?
Just wanted to give a shout out to The Deep. I feel like in the first 3 episodes, every time he has a line, it's chuckle worthy. Like he's just a whole nother level of lack of self-awareness and complete and utter I guess he's just a loser, I guess. Like there's no way around it. Like he is he is what people think Aquaman is. Like, that is what he is through and through. He's not respected. No one likes him, and he doesn't know that at all. He just thinks he's on top of the world, and it's hilarious. And then also Mother's Milk. It's great to see him. Apparently he has lost a fair amount of weight, and people were apparently concerned. I didn't think it looked too like out of nowhere or too like crazy, but he actually posted a video saying that it's normal, like there's nothing wrong. He just kind of wanted to lose some lbs, so good for him. He definitely looks good on the screen there.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. And at first I was like, oh, like he just looks like he got in shape. Not that he wasn't in shape from before. It's just that I think he said, he's just slimmed down, but like he looks really good, like for sure.
Let's take a quick break.
What's up, cinephiles? I'm Nicholas Ibarra.
And I'm Bella of Stratus.
And we want to tell you about the Gimme 3 podcast, a series for cinephiles. A show in which we pick 3 films based on one theme.
That's right. 3 films, one theme, like Gimme 3 movie musicals.
Gimme 3 Michelle Pfeiffer films.
Gimme 3 Pixar films.
Gimme 3 reasons why you shouldn't listen to our show. That's not an episode, that's just a legitimate question.
The Gimme 3 podcast is not just about expanding your watch list, it's about saving you precious time when you're endlessly scrolling through your streaming apps. So take 3 seconds and subscribe to the Gimme 3 podcast, a series for cinephiles.
Yeah, definitely great to have the crew back together, and getting some more background for each of them. And hopefully we'll keep doing that the rest of the season. I was going to say, we might be getting some A-Train redemption so far. Nothing crazy yet, but we'll see where that goes. It's very interesting.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of change of heart with certain characters, but Homelander still, as always, continues to be the most interesting character of the entire show, just because of his backstory, his upbringing, and whatnot. But he seemed like, if there's one word I were to describe Homelander within the first 3 episodes of this season, is that he's bored. Like, he's just bored out of his mind, where he can literally has the entire world eating out of the palm of his hand, but that's not enough. So he's trying new and different ways to entertain himself, to keep himself like interested and engaged, so he doesn't become complacent with what has been given to him or what has been bestowed upon him. So I think that's like a really good adjective to describe what Homelander is going through in these first 3 episodes, is that he's just a little complacent, but he's also kind of, he's bored. He's whelmed. He's not even overwhelmed or underwhelmed. He's just going through the motions, and he's like, I'm looking to shake some things up. And that definitely happens within these first 3 episodes. But let's get into our final thoughts, because we are not going to be giving our ratings until the entire season airs on Amazon Prime, until the season finale. So we're going to get into our final thought section here to kind of close things off. We're not going to be giving a rating until the season finale airs on Amazon Prime. So Devin, what are your final thoughts of episodes 1 through 3 of The Boys season 4 so far?
Yeah, final thoughts. Like I said, it's great to be back in this world with these characters. I honestly can't get enough. It's one of the rare shows where I find myself wishing for more spinoffs, especially with how successful Gen V was and how well they spun that off into its own world and own show. So honestly, more spinoffs for this one, the better, especially since we're going to be ending things with season 5. I don't think I'm going to be ready for that. I feel like I just want to keep watching forever.
Yeah, I do agree. It feels like the show is just getting started, but it's like also looking back on the previous seasons. I remember when we were just, going to the movies, like watching whatever, like the latest release was that week. And like, the previews were Amazon just had this thing with like The Boys, and it was like, yeah, it's streaming on Amazon Prime soon. And I was like, it looks interesting. And I was like, I don't know if I'm like all for it, but I mean, season 1 really just kicked off a great show. And I think it's gotten consistently better as the seasons have gone on altogether. And like you said, you know, Gen V, how they're able to expand upon this world. Like, this is a property that's based off of a comic book franchise. So they're able to give us the nitty gritty of, you know, of what superheroes would act and how they are portrayed in our real life, instead of it being like in Gotham City or New York or, you know, Metropolis with Superman. Like, obviously they've done a really great job with just adapting this for television. And yeah, it feels like it hasn't been that long, but like, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, I mean, even with Gen V, like, this is technically like the 5th season of like the Boys universe altogether. Because if you count Gen V as like the 4th, and then this is season 4 of the Boys, but it's like, and then we're getting season 5, and then Gen V season 2 as well. So that's it. That's at least 6 seasons of the Boys universe that we're able to enjoy. And hopefully they will be continuing to release these on physical media, because I think this is a show that everyone should watch. One of my friends actually watched season 3 of, no, it wasn't season 3. It was Gen V. He watched it with his parents, and his parents were like, what are you watching? Like, what is this? Like, they were interested to a point, but like, they couldn't get past like the blood and the raunchiness. But yeah, like Devin said, I mean, I hope we get some more spinoffs for the Boys. But I do feel like, you know, all things must come to an end. And I think the 5th season is a good way to end the story of Huey and Butcher, Mother's Milk, Frenchie and Kimiko in a timely fashion. So with all that said, that does conclude our episode for The Boys today. Again, we will be doing a full season review of season 4 once the series finale drops on the week of July 18th. It's Thursday, July 18th, 2024. So a little bit after the holiday weekends. I'm interested to see what that 4th of July episode is going to be, because it's just, the poster seemed too on the nose for it all together. But with all that said, that does conclude our episode for today. If you like what you heard, make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your preferred podcast platform of choice. And make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at Optix. That is Optix with an X. And don't forget to share an episode of our podcast with a fellow movie lover in need, whether it be your mother, your brother, or your significant other. Spread the love for the Film Optix podcast with a movie lover in need. And now let's take a sneak peek of what is coming up next on the show. So we are going to be covering on the other spectrum, Inside Out 2, that is as of this weekend now playing in theaters. So we're going to be covering that. We're also going to be covering shows such as The Bear Season 3 and A Quiet Place Part 3. It's Day 1, A Quiet Place, I think it's called, something of that nature. And there's a lot of other movies coming out. Twisters is going to be coming out soon. We have Maxine coming out in July. We have Deadpool and Wolverine coming out in July. So we are kind of getting towards the end of June here altogether. But July is going to have a lot of new surprises for us. And I think we're also going to try to cover The Bear Season 3 altogether. So you can keep a lookout for some of those shows and movies that we're going to be covering here on the show. And as far as new review releases that you can listen to right now, you can listen to our Furiosa and Mad Max Saga review, as well as our X-Men 97 Season 1 review, and our Star Wars The Acolyte Episode 1 and 2 spoiler-free take as well. We have a lot of movies and TV shows. We have a lot of episodes for you guys to listen to. Over 500 to be exact. But with all that said, thank you all for listening. If you enjoy the show, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and stay connected with us by following us on Twitter for the latest updates. That was Devin, and I'm Christian signing off. And remember, life is like a movie. So go out there and make it a blockbuster.
Peace.